Welcome to online CET class. Today I am going to discuss the chapter Alternating Current. So in JEE mains we will get one question, and in a NEET examination we will get two questions on this chapter. So now I am going to discuss the synopsis on the chapter Alternating Current. After that I will solve some multiple choice questions on alternating current. So what is alternating current? We already studied in our regular classes. Alternating current means its magnitude and direction changes periodically with the time. See here, an alternating current whose magnitude and directions of flow changes periodically with the time. So generally alternating current is represented by sine wave. So its magnitude and directions are changing periodically, so we can call it as alternating current. And the peak value of AC or the maximum value of alternating voltage or alternating current is called peak value. So generally peak value is represented by the symbol Vm, or we can use V0. And maximum current or peak value of current is represented by Im, or we can use I0. So V0 and I0, that indicates maximum value of alternating voltage or alternating current. So this is what maximum current. So it is represented by the symbol I0 or V0. And the third point is instantaneous value of AC. The instantaneous value of alternating current at any instant of time t is given by the equation I equal to Im sin omega t, or we can write it as I equal to I0 sin omega t, where I0 is peak value of alternating current. Remember, this equation we already studied in the lesson electromagnetic induction, right? Then mean or average value of alternating current. See here, why we have to consider mean value of alternating current? Only because its magnitude is changing periodically. So for that reason we have to consider mean value of alternating current. But remember, for one complete cycle, mean value of alternating current is 0. So this is one complete cycle. For one complete cycle, the average or mean value of alternating current is 0, because you can observe here the positive half cycle, area of a positive half cycle is equal to area of negative half cycle. That's why both the area will get cancelled. So the mean or average value of alternating current is 0. Then root mean square value of alternating current. So what is this root mean square value of alternating current? See here, it is very difficult to get the accurate value of alternating current because its magnitude and directions are changing periodically. So now to get its value, we can consider RMS value or root mean square value of alternating current. So here, which is equivalent to DC current. So that would produce the same power loss as AC has produced in a given resistor in the same time. So that's why we can use RMS value of alternating current. So whenever we are talking about alternating current, so we have to write it as IRMS. So which is equal to DC current, so which produces the same power loss as AC produces. And relation between root mean square value and peak value of current is given by the equation IRMS equal to Im divided by root 2, or we can write it as 0.707 Im, or in our regular classes we use the symbol I0. And RMS voltage of AC related to peak value of AC voltage as, see here, RMS value of voltage is equal to peak value of AC voltage divided by root 2. That means IRMS, or you can take it as VRMS. It is related to voltage. IRMS is given by the equation I0 by root 2. Similarly, voltage, root mean square value of voltage is given by V0 divided by root 2. So I0 is peak value of current and V0 is peak value of voltage. Then the next point, inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. These two are very important. So which are similar to resistor. See here, inductive reactance. So what is reactance? So reactance means this is the opposition offered either by inductor or by capacitor. So that is reactance. Now this is inductive reactance, means particularly opposition is offered by pure inductor and it is denoted by the symbol XL. So XL equal to omega L, or we can write it as 2 pi f L. Then capacitive reactance means the opposition offered by pure capacitor for the alternating current. So we can call it as capacitive reactance, which is denoted by XC. So XC equal to 1 by omega C, or we can write it as 1 by 2 pi FC. So remember, reactance is the opposition offered either by inductor or capacitor. If the opposition particularly offered by inductor, then we can call it as inductive reactance. If the opposition is offered by capacitor, then we can call it as capacitive reactance. Then power dissipated in AC circuit. So power dissipation in AC circuit is given by the equation P equal to Vrms Irms into cos pi. Right? Then the next term is power factor. So power factor is the ratio of true power to the apparent power, and it is given by the equation cos pi equal to R divided by Z. So what is Z here? Z indicates impedance. So impedance means the opposition offered either by inductor or capacitor or resistor. So we can call it as impedance. So power factor is given by cos pi equal to R divided by Z. Then wattless current, which is also called as ideal current. Here the AC current through pure inductor or capacitor or LC circuit is called wattless current. So in these circuits, power consumption is very less, or it is equivalent to 0. Right? So we are going to call it as wattless current, because you can observe here in inductor and capacitor the equation is given by P equal to Vrms into Irms into cos pi. Right? This is for both inductor and capacitor. So here the phase difference between them is 90 degree. So cos 90 will be 0. So the equation becomes Vrms into Irms into cos 90 degree, because in inductor voltage leads the current, but in capacitor current leads the voltage with the phasor angle 90 degree. Cos 90 is 0. So power consumed is 0 for inductor and capacitor. So this current we can call it as wattless current. Then the next term is bandwidth. So bandwidth is the difference between two frequencies at which power reduces to half of the power at resonance. Or bandwidth simply we can define it as it is the difference between two half power frequency. Right? Then quality factor. Remember, so quality factor is used to determine the sharpness of the curve or sharpness of the resonance. So current is maximum, or you can take this graph. So current is said to be maximum only when resistance is less. When resistance is very less, then current is maximum, so the curve is also sharper. Suppose if resistance is greater, if resistance is more, then we can get the flat curve. That indicates current is very less because opposition is more. So this sharpness of the curve is easily determined by quality factor, or simply we can write it as Q factor. And it is given by the equation Q equal to. So we can define the quality factor as it is the ratio of resonance frequency to the bandwidth, or directly we can write the equation omega naught L divided by R or 1 by R root L divided by C. Using this equation we can find the sharpness of resonance. Then resonant frequency of series LCR circuit. Observe here, in series LCR circuit, for a particular frequency of input voltage, current in the circuit becomes maximum. See here, at somewhere at particular frequency, current reaches maximum value. So that particular frequency we are going to call it as resonant frequency, and this phenomenon is called electrical resonance. Right? So what is resonant frequency? Here, for a particular frequency, the input AC voltage current in the circuit becomes maximum. So we can call it as resonant frequency. Then expression for resonance frequency. Remember, at resonant frequency, inductive reactance and capacitive reactance both are equal. When both are equal, we know the relation between XC and XL. See here, capacitive reactance is given by XC equal to 1 by omega C. Inductive reactance is given by XL equal to omega L. At resonant frequency, XL and XC are equal. So we can get resonant frequency F naught, or you can use nu naught, equal to 1 by 2 pi root of LC. Right? So this is the expression for resonant frequency. Here you can observe this diagram. So this is the graph of resonant frequency versus R here, that is impedance. So inductive reactance, here XC is greater than XL and here XL is greater than XC. Anyhow, at resonant frequency both are equal. When both are equal, we can get resonant frequency F naught equal to 1 by 2 pi root of LC. Then transformer. Transformer, it is a device which is used to increase or which is used to decrease AC voltage or alternating current. We can convert high voltage into low alternating voltage or low alternating voltage to high alternating voltage using transformer, and this transformer works on the principle of mutual induction. About mutual induction we have studied in electromagnetic induction chapter. That is, when induced EMF in primary coil changes, then current induces in the secondary coil. That means when current changes in one coil, induced EMF takes place in the neighboring coil. On that principle, transformer works. Then sources of energy loss in a transformer. Some power loss or energy loss takes place in the transformer. So that is flux leakage, resistance of the windings and eddy current. Flux leakage. Here, because of air gap between the winded wires, or sometimes what happens here, when the wires are not wounded on each other, flux leakage, magnetic flux leakage takes place. So that is also energy loss. And resistance of the windings, eddy current. So whenever magnetic flux changes, so induced EMF takes place, so that eddy current is produced. So these eddy currents are releasing large amount of heat energy which damages the primary and secondary coil or the core of the transformer. So these are some energy losses in the transformer. And turns ratio in transformer. Ratio of number of turns in secondary to the number of turns in primary is called turns ratio, which is given by the equation Vs by Vp equal to Ns by Np equal to T. T is a transformer ratio or turns ratio. So Ns by Np, that is number of turns in secondary coil to the number of turns in primary coil. Vs by Vp indicates voltage across secondary coil with respect to voltage across primary coil. So these ratio gives a turns ratio which is denoted by T. Suppose if the transformer is assumed to be 100% efficient, that means there is no energy loss, then the equation is given by Vs Ip equal to Vp Is, that is voltage across secondary coil into current across primary coil equal to voltage across primary coil into current across secondary coil, or we can write Vs by Vp equal to Ip divided by Is. So this is only when the transformer, ideal transformer, or so if there is no energy loss, then we can use this equation. Then step up transformer and step down transformer. Remember, step up means we have to increase the voltage, low to high voltage. We are going to convert low alternating voltage to high alternating voltage in step up transformer. Here in step up transformer, the secondary coil has a greater number of turns than primary. See here, suppose the electric current in a primary coil changes, induced EMF takes place in secondary coil. Suppose secondary coil is having greater number of turns, then it converts low to high voltage. Remember, in step up transformer, secondary coil should have large number of turns than primary coil. And Vs is greater than Vp, voltage across secondary coil is greater than voltage across primary coil, because this is a step up transformer and here turns ratio T is greater than 1. And the second one is step down transformer. If the secondary coil has less turns than the primary, it is exactly opposite to step up. In step up we are increasing the voltage, in step down we have to decrease the alternating voltage. That's why secondary coil should have less number of turns than primary coil, and here Vs is less than Vp, that means voltage across secondary coil is less than voltage across primary coil, and here T is less than 1. Then efficiency of the transformer eta equal to output power divided by input power, or we can write VSIS divided by VPIP. So this is all about transformer. And this is AC voltage applied to a resistor. When alternating voltage is applied to resistor, what happens? What is the relation between voltage and current? And we know the equation V equal to Vm sin omega t. We can use Ohm's law here, I equal to V divided by R. So here you can observe two equations. Alternating voltage or instantaneous voltage V equal to V naught sin omega t. Alternating current I equal to I naught sin omega t. Let us compare these two equations. So that indicates both voltage and current are in phase with each other. There is no phase difference between voltage and current when AC is connected to resistor. Here you can observe this wave diagram. This is voltage and this indicates alternating current. Voltage and alternating current both are moving in phase with each other. Both are at the same time, both are maximum. At the same time, both voltage and current are minimum. That indicates voltage and current is in phase with each other. There is no phasor difference between them. And using this phasor diagram, we can represent the phase difference between voltage and current here. So this line, you can observe voltage and current both are in the same phase. And the second one is AC voltage is applied to pure inductive circuit. So when AC voltage is applied to inductor, what are the changes occurs, or what is the difference between phasor difference between current and voltage? So again we can use V equal to V naught sin omega t. This is voltage across the source, and after deriving this equation we can get the final equation as I equal to I naught sin omega t minus pi by 2. Here it is, I equal to I naught sin omega t minus pi by 2. So let us take it as equation number 2. So compare these two equations after deriving. So here there is a phase difference between them. So what is the phase difference between voltage and current? That is 90 degree. Here voltage and this is alternating current. there is a difference between them. There is 90 degree, or the phasor angle is 90 degree. So which is leading or which is lagging when it is connected to inductor? Remember, when AC voltage is connected to inductor, then voltage leads current with 90 degree, right? Here it is. Voltage leads current by pi by 2, that is 90 degree. We can represent in wave diagram or in phasor diagram. Here you can observe, so this is voltage, voltage is leading with how much angle? 90 degree. And here this is current and this is voltage. This current is lagging behind the voltage, or voltage leads current with 90 degree. Then third one, AC voltage applied to a capacitor. When AC voltage is applied to capacitor, so here we have the equation V equal to V naught sin omega t. This is voltage across the capacitor, and we can use Kirchhoff rule here, that is V minus Q by C equal to 0. So finally we can get the equation, third equation, I equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. That indicates again there is a phase difference between voltage and current, that is 90 degree. But here voltage is not leading the current, but the current leads voltage, or voltage is lagging behind current with 90 degree. This is very important. Current leads voltage, or voltage lags behind the current by the angle pi by 2. So it can be represented in both wave diagram as well as in phasor diagram. Here this is current, this indicates the alternating current, and this is voltage. So current is leading the voltage with 90 degree. Here also this voltage is lagging behind the current, or current leads the voltage with 90 degree. So these 3 points you have to remember, that is for resistor, inductor, capacitor. In resistor what happens? There is no phase difference between them. This is for resistor. When it is connected to inductor, there is a phase difference of how much? 90 degree, or we can write pi by 2. Then when it is connected to capacitor, phase difference is again pi by 2. But the difference is, in capacitor current leads the voltage, but in inductor voltage leads current. Voltage leads the current. Then AC voltage applied to all the three elements, that is series LCR circuit, inductor, then resistor and capacitor. So here this derivation part we studied in our regular classes, but the important is only impedance, so which is given by Z equal to root of R square plus XC minus XL whole square, or XL minus XC whole square. So this is impedance. So impedance means again it is the opposition offered by all these three elements, that is resistor, inductor and capacitor, or it is the opposition offered by the series LCR circuit, and it is represented by Z. Then its direction tan pi is given by, this is important equation, tan pi equal to XC minus XL divided by R, or XL minus XC divided by R. So this is the brief synopsis on alternating current. Remember, there are more number of formulae here. Should remember all the formulae to solve the multiple choice questions. Now let us solve multiple choice questions on alternating current. The first question is, the instantaneous voltage through a device of impedance 20 ohm is E equal to AT sin 100 omega t. The effective value of current is. So we have to calculate effective value of current, that is IRMS we have to calculate, and impedance is given, which is denoted by Z equal to 20 ohm, and E equal to 80 sin 100 omega t. Now let us take it as equation 1. Now I am going to compare equation 1 with E equal to E naught sine omega t instantaneous EMF. Let us take it as equation number 2. So compare equation 1 and 2 so that the maximum induced EMF E naught is equal to AT. Therefore, I am going to use the equation I naught equal to E naught divided by Z, or E naught is equal to AT divided by impedance is 20. So we can get 4 ampere. This is maximum value of current, that is 4 ampere. But we want effective value of current. So we have the direct equation I RMS equal to I naught divided by root 2. So I naught we already calculated, that is 4 ampere divided by 2. So the answer will be 2.828 ampere. So that is option B. Determine the RMS value of EMF given by the equation E equal to 8 sine omega t plus 6 sine 2 omega t. So this is of the form E equal to E naught sine omega t, that is maximum induced EMF or peak value of EMF is given, that is 8 and 6. So we have the equation for ERMS, that is ERMS equal to E naught divided by root 2. So this equation we can use here. So E naught divided by root 2. So that is 8 by root 2 plus, so one more value, 6 divided by root 2. This is ERMS value. So let us calculate this value. Squaring here, squaring on both sides. ERMS square equal to 8 square divided by root 2 plus 6 square divided by root 2. Right? So root 2 will be 2 here. ERMS square equal to 8 square is 64, 6 square is 36, divided by LCM will be 2. So ERMS square equal to, that will be 100 by 2, that is 50, or we want only ERMS, that is root 50, so which is equal to 5 root 2. So 5 root 2 volt is the RMS value of EMF, that is option A. The impedance in a circuit containing a resistance of 1 ohm and an inductance of 0.1 Henry in series for AC of 50 Hz is. Here resistance and inductance values are given and also frequency of AC is given, so we can calculate impedance. See here, resistance is given 1 ohm and inductance is 0.1 Henry. Then frequency is given 50 Hz. We have to calculate impedance. So direct formula we can use here, that is Z equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. Substitute all the values here. Here in this circuit there is no capacitor, so we can modify this equation R square plus XL square, because there is no inductor, leave it. So Z equal to root of R square plus, so we know that XL equal to omega L, substitute here omega L whole square. So now Z equal to root of R square plus, omega is not given, so instead of omega we can write 2 pi f L whole square. Now substitute all the values. R square, that is 1 ohm plus 2 pi, frequency is 50 Hz and inductance is given 0.1 whole square. So the impedance value will become Z equal to, that is root of 1000, or we can write it as 10 root 10 ohm. So 10 root 10 ohm is option B. An AC voltage is applied to a resistance R and an inductor L in series. If R and inductive reactance are both equal to 3 ohm, the phase difference between the applied voltage and current in the circuit is. The phase difference is denoted by pi, and which is given by the equation. We know that tan pi equal to XL minus XC divided by R. So this is the standard equation we can use here. And here in this problem there is no capacitor in the circuit, so only inductor is connected to the resistor. So we can write this equation as tan pi equal to XL divided by R. So XC I removed here because there is no capacitor in the circuit. Substitute the values. So here you can observe here resistor and inductive reactance are both equal to 3 ohm. So resistor is R, inductive reactance is denoted by XL, both are equal to 3 ohm. Substitute here XL divided by R. So we can write it as 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. So here we want the phase difference between the applied voltage and the current. So tan pi equal to 1. So tan pi equal to 1. So when pi is pi by 4. Right. So pi equal to pi by 4 is the phase difference between voltage and current. So option B is right. A coil has resistance 30 ohm and inductive reactance 20 ohm at 50 Hz frequency. If an AC source of 200 volt 100 Hz is connected across the coil, the current in the coil will be. See here, resistance is given 30 ohm, inductive reactance is given 20 ohm at frequency 50 Hz. Suppose an AC source of 200 volt is connected at frequency 100 Hz, then current in the coil will be. We have to calculate IRMS. So we have the relation between inductive reactance with respect to angular frequency, XL equal to omega L, or we can write it as 2 pi FL. Right. So we know that omega equal to 2 pi F. So that is 2 pi into frequency, initial it is 50, we can get 100 pi. When the source is connected to 200 volt, frequency changes from 50 to 100. Let us take it as omega dash equal to 2 pi F dash. So 2 pi into, so frequency will become 100. So that gives 200 pi. So here it is already given inductive reactance is 20 ohm. Here it is doubled. Double means directly I can write it as 40 ohm. So now we can calculate the IRMS value. So we have the relation IRMS equal to VRMS divided by Z. So VRMS is already given. Impedance is given by root of R square plus XL square because there is no capacitive reactance. So IRMS equal to, substitute the value, 200 divided by root of R square is 30 square plus XL we calculated now, that is 40 square, 30 square plus 40 square. So the final answer will be 4 ampere. So IRMS equal to 4 ampere. So that is option A. An inductance of negligible resistance whose reactance is 22 ohm at 200 Hz is connected to 200 volt 50 Hz power line. The value of inductance is, see here, frequency initially it is at the power line it is 50 Hz, then F dash we can take it as 200 Hz and it is connected to AC voltage at 200 volt. Then reactance is given, simply it is denoted by X. X is given 22 ohm. So we have the equation inductive reactance is given by XL equal to omega L or 2 pi FL. So we want inductive reactance value. So L equal to, we can write it as XL divided by 2 pi F. So L equal to, here XL value is given, that is 22 divided by 2 into, that is 3.142 into frequency is given, that is 200 volt. So we can get the answer 0.0175 Henry. So the value of inductance is 0.0175 Henry, that is option A. An inductive circuit contains resistance of 10 ohm and an inductance of 2 Henry. If an AC voltage of 120 volt and frequency 60 Hz is applied to this circuit, the current would be nearly. Inductive circuit contains the resistance, that is R equal to 10 ohm. Inductance value is given 2 Henry and voltage Vrms is 120 volt. Frequency is 60 Hz and we have to calculate the current IRMS. So we have the equation IRMS equal to Vrms divided by Z, or IRMS equal to Vrms divided by impedance, means root of R square plus XL square, or we can write it as Vrms divided by root of R square plus XL equal to omega L, or we can write 2 pi FL whole square. Now substitute all the values. So Vrms is given, that is 120 divided by root of R square, that is 10 square plus 2 pi into frequency is 60 and the inductance value is 2 Henry whole square. So now calculate the value. So we can get IRMS equal to 120 divided by 754.146, or we can get 0.159. So 0.159 is equivalent to 0.16 ampere. So that is option A is right. An alternating voltage E equal to 200 root 2 sine of 100t is connected to 1 microfarad capacitor through an AC ammeter. The reading of the ammeter shall be. See here, the equation is given E equal to 200 root 2 sine of 100t, which is equivalent to instantaneous EMF E equal to E naught sine omega t, right? Let us compare these two equations. We can get, therefore, E naught equal to 200 root 2, omega is 100. So from this equation 1 and 2 we got maximum EMF and angular velocity. Now C value is already given, that is 1 microfarad. So we have to calculate IRMS, that is the reading of the ammeter. So we have the equation IRMS equal to, or Vrms equal to, we can take the relation V naught divided by root 2, or we can write ERMS equal to E naught divided by root 2. So E naught is given 200 root 2 divided by root 2. So root 2 will get cancelled. So we can get 200 volt. This is the value of Vrms, or you can write ERMS. Then we have the equation IRMS equal to VRMS divided by XC. Right? So here capacitive reactance is connected. So I am going to take only XC here, or we can write it as VRMS is that is given here. We calculated the value 200 divided by XC value, XC equal to 1 by omega C. So omega value is already given from the equation. Substitute the values here. 200 divided by 1 by omega is 100 into capacitor value 1 microfarad, 1 into 10 raised to minus 6. So calculate all the value. So we can get 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 ampere. So 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 ampere means we can write it as 20 milliampere. That is option B. An alternating voltage of 220 volt, 50 Hz frequency is applied across a capacitor of capacitance 2 microfarad. The impedance of the circuit is, see here, voltage across AC source VRMS is 220 volt, frequency is 50 Hz, which is applied across the capacitor of the capacitance C equal to 2 microfarad. So we have to calculate impedance, that is Z value. So impedance we want here. So we know XC value, impedance of the circuit. First we can take capacitive reactance XC equal to 1 by omega C or 1 divided by 2 pi FC. Substitute all the values here. XC equal to 1 divided by 2 pi into 50. Capacitive reactance is 2 into 10 raised to minus 6. So we can get XC value 5000 divided by pi. So here XC is equivalent to Z. Z is 5000 divided by pi. Remember, in this circuit only capacitor is connected. So capacitive reactance only opposes the current here. So Z is equivalent to XC. So 5000 divided by pi, option D is right. In an experiment, 200 volt AC is applied at the ends of an LCR circuit. The circuit consists of an inductive reactance XL is 50 ohm, capacitive reactance XC is also 50 ohm, and the resistance R is 10 ohm. The impedance of the circuit is, see here, so voltage is 200 volt, XL and XC both are equal to 50 ohm and resistance is 10 ohm. So we have to calculate again impedance. So impedance is given by the equation Z equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. Here Z equal to root of R square plus XL and XC both are equal, that is 50 minus 50 square. So Z equal to root of R value is 10 square plus 50 minus 50 will be 0. So root of 100. So root of 100 means Z equal to 10 ohm. So that is option A is right. In an electrical circuit RLC and an AC voltage source are all connected in series. When L is removed from the circuit, the phase difference between voltage, the current in the circuit is pi by 3. If instead C is removed from the circuit, the phase difference is again pi by 3, then the power factor of the circuit is, see here, so initially that is resistor, inductor and capacitor is connected to AC source, right? So it is connected to AC source. The phase difference between voltage and current is pi by 3. Pi equal to, this is phase difference. So when inductor is removed, we got pi equal to pi by 3. So in the second case, when capacitor is removed, again we can get the phase difference is the same, that is pi by 3. So we want power factor. So power factor is equal to cos pi. So we have to calculate cos pi value. So we have the relation, that is tan pi equal to xc minus xl divided by r. See here, in the first case, when L is removed, that is inductor, when it is removed, then tan pi will become, so this in this equation XL is removed, so XC divided by R, or we have the value of pi, so tan pi by 3 equal to XC divided by R, or we can write it as XC equal to R tan of pi by 3. Let us take it as first case, equation 1. In the second case, similarly, when capacitor is removed, when C is removed, then tan pi will be equal to X. C is removed here, so remaining is only L, XL by R. So therefore we can write XL equal to R into tan pi by 3. This is equation 2, that is in the second case. So therefore net impedance, we know that Z equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. XL and XC values both are same here. So both are same means we can get only root of R square, which is equal to R. Now power factor. So power factor means cos pi equal to R divided by Z. So R capacities. So Z is equal to what? Again R. So R by R will get cancelled. Remaining is 1. So power factor is equal to 1, that is option C. In an LCR series AC circuit, the voltage across each of the component L, C and R is 50 volt. The voltage across LC combination will be, see here, voltage Vrms equal to, that is 50 volt is given for the LCR circuit. The phase difference between, remember, inductor and capacitor is 90 degree, that is pi. So now we have to calculate the net voltage across LC combination. Remember, for the resistor the phase difference is 0. For LC circuit the phase difference is pi by 2. So we have to know this phase difference value. See here, for inductor we know that voltage leads current. Voltage leads current. For capacitor we know that voltage lags behind the current. So we have the relation according to phasor diagram or phasor relation, that is VL minus VC. So this relation we can consider here. The phase difference between L and C is the same, that is 90 degree. Therefore, the net voltage difference between LC circuit, the net voltage difference between LC circuit will be, see here, that is V equal to VL minus VC. So voltage across inductor and capacitor, phase difference is same both in the both cases. So 50 minus 50, so net voltage will be 0. That is option D. If resistance of 100 ohm and inductance of 0.5 Henry and capacitance of 10 into 10 raised to 6 farad are connected in series through 50 Hz AC supply, then the impedance is, see here all the values are given, directly we can use the equation. So resistance is 100 ohm, inductance value is 0.5 Henry, capacitance is 10 into 10 raised to 6 farad and the frequency is 50 Hz. So now we have to calculate impedance. So the equation for impedance is Z equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. Substitute the values. Root of R square plus XL is equal to omega L, XC is 1 by omega C whole square. So frequency is given, so again modify the equation here. 2 pi FL minus 1 by 2 pi FC whole square. Now substitute all the values. 100 square plus 2 pi F, that is L value is given 0.5 minus 1 by 2 pi F, C value is 10 into 10 raised to 6 square. So by calculating all these values we can get the result 187.6 ohm. So impedance value is 187.6 ohm, that is option C. In an LCR series resonance circuit, the capacitance is changed from C to 4C. For the same resonant frequency, the inductance should be changed from L to. See here, initially capacitor is C, it is changed to 4C. Then at the same resonant frequency, the inductance should be changed from L to. So we know that. So root of LC is constant because for same resonant frequency. For same resonant frequency, root of LC is constant. We can use this equation or we can write LC equal to constant. I am going to use this equation here. So initially inductor value is L and capacitor value is C. So then let us consider it changes to L dash C dash. Now L dash we don't know capacities. This is L dash. C dash value is given. How much? That is 4C. Therefore L dash equal to LC divided by 4C. C will get cancelled. So finally the inductor value is L divided by 4. That is option D.